I'm Bill Atherhole, treasurer of Clifton Forge Main Street, the organization that has presented this event since 2009. I'm also the quartermaster of VFW Post 1033. On behalf of the board of directors of the Clifton Forge Main Street, I welcome you to America's 245th birthday celebration. The purpose of this gathering is to celebrate our nation's birthday, to recognize our veterans living in the Allegheny Highlands who have served their country, and first responders who work daily to keep the people of this great country free and safe. We're honored to have the Commonwealth Virginia delegate Terry Austin and his wife Kathy, and over there on my left. From the Allegheny Board of Supervisors, we recognize our Clifton Forge supervisors, Greg Dodd and Joan Van Orsdahl. Mr. Cletus Nicely, our county supervisor, is also a veteran to be honored today. The supervisor's financial support makes this event possible. From the Clifton Forge Town Council, we recognize Mayor Pam Marshall, who will deliver our invocation. We recognize Vice Mayor Jeff Irvin and council members Bob Umstead, Dr. Ron Goings, and Shorty Wolf. Without the support of the Clifton Forge Town Council, Clifton Forge Main Street would not exist, and without that support, our 4th of July celebration would not be held. Mayor Marshall, would you please come forward and deliver the invitation?
Happy Independence Day. Let us pray. Eternal God, thank you for those who served and are serving our country and their families. For those who labor to help us celebrate America here in Clifton Forge, the land of the free and the home of the brave. I pray, Lord, that you bless us and keep us. Make your face shine on us and be gracious to us. I pray that we feel your presence during these celebrations because you are with us wherever we go. It is in the name of Jesus that we pray. Amen.
Okay, for the past several years, Independence Day ceremonies have had the presence of Mr. Patrick Henry. Patrick will not be with us today because the wonderful gentleman who portrays him is extremely ill. So I ask that he be in your prayers, thoughts and prayers in the weeks to come. So since Patrick is not here, I need to set the stage for our upcoming speakers and guests. The year is 1773. The American colonists have now become very dissatisfied with the rule of the colonies by English King George III. Patrick Henry has given his Give Me Liberty, or Give Me Speech, death speech. As time approaches 1776, our founding fathers are meeting in Philadelphia to create a lengthy letter to the king which will outline his many errors of judgment. That letter will be known as our Declaration of Independence. Now fellow veteran Jenny Olson and her readers, some of whom are veterans, will take us through the next stage of American history by sharing excerpts from that Declaration of Independence. The year is now 1776, and the day is July the 4th.
This is why these southern plantations had big verandas. Capture our big skirts. Good afternoon. Among all those that have already extended a happy 4th of July, let me be one of those also. And I want to take time, I had to take time to get that last star sewn on that flag. There's 13 stars on that flag now. Who'd have thought we'd ever have 13 stars on that flag? As we celebrate the 4th of July today, we're celebrating the anniversary of our Declaration of Independence. So let us look for just a moment at what we are celebrating today. This piece of parchment right here is the reason that we as Americans can sit outdoors later on today grilling our favorite foods. It's the reason we went to a parade like we went to today and attend certain celebrations just as we're doing today. It's the reason we chant USA over and over when we watch the Olympics. And it's the reason we get a little teary-eyed when we hear our favorite rendition of the Star-Spangled Banner. And oh yeah, Declaration of Independence is the reason America as a country exists at all. Now, not only did the Declaration of Independence, for lack of better words, declare our independence from England and King George III, but in this document are the words of Thomas Jefferson, which embodied the founding ideas of the United States, and they're still often referenced today when it comes to social and legal issues. Yeah, this document is a very big red, white, and blue deal. The Declaration of Independence also established an extremely important idea in a very official way, that the United States is a country where the government comes from the people and it has to be responsible back to the people. So today, as we mark the 245th celebration of our country's March to Freedom, listen to some of the words from the Declaration of Independence and look upon this stage at the men and the women who have given so much to keep us free. And that freedom allows us to be the beacon of liberty to the world, freedom that offers hope to a new life to the hundreds of nationalities that make up our country. You know, we all share the same country. We are the United States of America, and it began with these words.
When in the course of human events it becomes necessary for one people to dissolve the political bands which have connected them with another, and to assume among the powers of the earth the separate and equal station to which the laws of nature and of nature's God entitle them, a decent respect to the opinions of mankind requires that they should declare the causes which impel them to the separation. We hold these truths to be self-evident, that all men are created equal, that they are endowed by their Creator with certain unalienable rights, that among these are life, liberty, and the pursuit of happiness, that to secure these rights, governments are instituted among men, deriving their powers from the consent of the governed, that when any form of government becomes destructive of these ends, it is the right of the people to alter or abolish it, and to institute new government, laying its foundation on such principles and organizing its powers in such form as to them shall seem most likely to effect their safety and happiness. Prudence, indeed, will dictate that governments long established should not be changed for light and transient causes. But when a long train of abuses and usurpations reduce them under absolute despotism, it is their right. It is their duty to throw off such government and to provide new guards for their further security. The history of Great Britain was a history of repeated injuries and usurpations. It was necessary for these colonies, who suffered under the constraints of Great Britain, to alter their former systems of government. To prove this, let facts be submitted.
He has forbidden his governors to pass laws of immediate and pressing importance unless suspended in their operation until his assent should be obtained. And when so suspended, he utterly neglected to attend to them. He has refused to pass other laws for the accommodation of large districts of people, unless those people would relinquish the right of representation in the legislature, a right unmeasured to them and formidable to tyrants only. He has called together legislative bodies at places unusual, uncomfortable, and distant from the depository of their public records, for the sole purpose of fatiguing them into compliance with his measures.
He has dissolved representative houses repeatedly for opposing his manly firmness, his invasion on the rights of people. He has kept among us in times of peace standing armies without the consent of our colonial government. He has combined with others to subject us to rule foreign to our Constitution and not covered our laws, giving his assent to their acts of pretend colonial government. For imposing taxes on us without consent, for depriving us, in many cases, of the benefits of trial by jury, for transporting us beyond the seas to be tried for pretended offenses. He has plundered our seas, ravaged our coast, burnt our towns, and destroyed the lives of our people.
In every stage of the oppression, we have petitioned for readiness in the most humble terms. Our repeated petitions have been answered only by repeated injury. A prince whose character and thus mark every act of which is defined a tyrant is unfit to be a ruler of the free people. Nor have we been awaiting inattention to the British brethren. We have warned them from time to time of attempts by the legislature to extend an unwarrantable jurisdiction over us. We have reminded them of the circumstances of our immigrant and settlement here. We have appalled to their native justice and they too have been deaf to the voice of justice. We must therefore accuse in the necessity which denounces our separation and hold them as we hold the rest of mankind. Enemies in war, in peace, friends, we therefore, the representatives of the United States of America in General Congress, assembled appealing to the Supreme Judge of the world of the righteousness of our intention, do in the name and by the authority of the good people of these colonies, solemnly publish and declare that these united colonies are and of right ought to be free and independent states, that they are absolved from all alliance of the British Crown, that as free and independent states they have full power to levy war, conclude peace, contract alliance, establish commerce, and to do other acts and things which independents may have the right to do.
I want to thank our readers today. It's tough picking out just the right things to say to make us realize where we've come from and where we're at. But thank you to the readers today. We're also well represented here today by our veterans. We've got all of our military veterans, of course, but we're also represented by our patriotic veterans, as well as our first responder veterans, our medical veterans, our naturalist veterans. And these backgrounds have played an important part in Virginia's history, and they still play an important part in our history today. This Declaration of Independence began the Revolutionary War. The old colonies became a free and independent nation. We had a new flag that I'm finally done with, and a new name. And we soon had a new song, which became our nation's song, the Star-Spangled Banner.
Thank you. Thank you very much. Let's give them a hand of applause for that. Well done. We have now mentioned two very important events, one 1773 with Patrick Henry and one 1776 with the Declaration. Our flag, Constitution, our national anthem, and our Pledge of Allegiance have not yet been created. Our first official flag, the 13-star flag, was not adopted until June the 4th, 1777, by the Second Continental Congress. Our Constitution was not ratified by the states until June the 21st, 1788, and went into effect on March the 4th, 1789. Our Constitution was not ratified by the state. The words of the national anthem were written by Francis Scott Key in 1814 aboard a British ship during the bombardment of Baltimore. Our national anthem was adopted by Congress in 1931. And the Pledge of Allegiance was not adopted by Congress until 1942. So after we free ourselves, independent of England, it took 1 year to develop a first official flag, 13 years to develop our constitutional government, 155 years to develop our national anthem, and 166 years to develop our pledge. So the creation of this country has taken that long, and it's still operating that way. It will change over the years. Now it's 2021. We have declared our independence. We have fought and gained that independence. We have created a new nation with a government as outlined in the Constitution of the United States of America. We have adopted a national anthem. We have adopted a Pledge of Allegiance. We have also fought wars overseas for the benefit of saving democracy in the world. Ladies and gentlemen, please rise for the presentation of the 50-star flag of the United States of America by former Navy Corpsman Sean Wright of VFW Post 1033. The singing of our national anthem by Miss Kelly Ray Dudley, then remain standing by Miss Lily Burns, who will introduce and lead us in reciting the Pledge of Allegiance. Please bring the flag forward and post the flag.
Oh, say, can you see by the dawn's early light what so proudly we hailed at the twilight's last gleaming, whose broad stripes and bright stars through the perilous fight o'er the ramparts we watched were so gallantly streaming, and the rocket's red glare, the bombs bursting proud to be an American, where at least I know I'm free. I won't forget the men and women who gave their lives for me. Both my poppy and my pawpaw served in the United States Navy. The American flag is a symbol of freedom, liberty, and human rights. Be a proud American and join me in saying the Pledge of Allegiance. I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. Thank you.
Seated. Thank you, beautiful young ladies, doing a beautiful job. Thank you very much. Let's give them a hand. I invite you now to the attention to the empty chair right straight in front of me. This chair is not exactly empty, but it would be if it went out post, but we put a flag on it to make it look nice. Veterans organizations recognize at their regular meetings that there remain veterans of all wars that to this very day may be prisoners of war or declared missing in action. Veterans continue to honor them by displaying an empty chair as a symbol of their not being present, but with the hope that they will return. Okay. It's now time to look at this group that's up here. In the past, when we used to have this on the town hall steps, I honored our veterans first and then our first responders. I later recognized that the first responders not being recognized, but being recognized, are probably on duty and subject to immediate call to duty while sitting here in this theater. So I hope we can complete this recognition before I see the first responders exiting en masse from the stage. So, these are very dedicated Americans who seldom recognized for their part they play in maintaining our safety and security of the homeland. That is until September 11, 2001. They are who we call first responders. Those are the men and women of our police forces, our rescue emergency medical units, and our fire response units. Please stand to be recognized as your name is called. Clifton Forge Police Officer Dakota Murillo, who is also a sergeant in the Army National Guard. Allegheny County Sheriff Deputy Chris Fisher. Everybody knows Chris. Virginia State Police Trooper Barry Allen Shell. I spoke to him earlier, I thought he would be here. Superintendent of Clifton Forge Fire Department and Fire Marshal Robbie Boyd, who has given 30 years of service. Clifton Forge Rescue Squad member Kenny Lohman, a Navy veteran and commander of VFW Post 4299. Iron Gate Fire Department Assistant Chief Scotty Boyd, cousin of Robert. Now, I offer you this release. If you're on duty and think you may be called within the next 20 minutes, it's probably better that you leave now. And so feel free to do that. Okay. I thought that may be something I needed to say. Thank you all for being here. Think about how we retained our independence and freedom throughout the past 245 years. That independence has been maintained by our veterans of our armed services, some of whom are here today. Over the past 11 years, Dr. Jack Backles created the ceremony in Clifton Forge and asked Clifton Forge Main Street to present it. I have developed a list of veterans in the Allegheny Highlands that I have recognized in the past July 4th celebrations. I updated each year, invited about 20 veterans to be honored on the town hall steps. We could only honor a few representative veterans because the town hall porch had a limited space. This year, as I did in 2019, I've invited about 70 veterans to be honored today. Because we have the space to honor them, we could never do this on the town hall steps. In addition, all veterans who serve will be honored, not just those who have experienced combat in the various wars. I'm trying, but I do not have a list of all who serve, but I am continuously expanding that list to include them as I learn of them. So if any of you are veterans in the audience and did not receive a personal invitation, please contact the Clifton Forge Main Street office so in the future you can receive an invitation. Okay, first few words about a war that's long gone, thank goodness. Let me share the names of World War I veterans, just with you, a few of them. Although the First World War is long over and no veterans are now living, I do wish to name a few veterans of that war listed on the monument in front of the Allegheny County Courthouse. If you don't know that exists, it does, and you should go there sometime. These men were killed in World War I. Earl Tyree, Roy Bush, Willie Banks, Hobson Byers, and James Nicely. I'll bet many of those names are in this audience or are these veterans today. So that war ended 103 years ago on the 11th hour of the 11th day, of the 11th month of 1918. We should not forget those who fought that war. It will always remain a big part of American and world history. Democracy in Europe was saved by that war. Excuse me. Well, World War II. I have a list of 10 World War II veterans living in the Allegheny Highlands today. All were invited. We have lost 9 World War II veterans since our last Independence Day celebration in 2019. If able, will the World War II veterans please stand and be recognized? I'm not sure I saw one come. Those invited were Will Camp, Cecil Taylor, Joe Fury, John Owens, Malcolm Crawford, Robert Howard, Gene Chambers, Freddie McCormick, and Richard Shaw. World War II ended 45 years from 1945, 76 years ago. Those men standing are recognized, which aren't there, but they were there. That was a big war, and they did well. World War II Cadet Nurse Corps. Sadly, I know of no World War II cadet nurses surviving. Mrs. Sarah Payne of our brigade died since our last celebration in 2019. I have a list of 15 veterans that fought in Korea in 1950 to 1953, or served in Korea after 1953. We have lost 3 Korean War veterans since our celebration in 2019. Korean War has not ended, but a truce was signed in 1968. 68 years ago in 1953. Would the Korean War veterans here today please stand and be recognized? Thank you very much. I have a list of 31 Vietnam veterans, and all of them were invited. That war ended in 1972, 47 years ago. And I have lost 2 Vietnam veterans since that celebration. One member of that war is taking pictures. Chuck Almaraz is not on the stage. Would Vietnam veterans please stand to be recognized? I have a list of 13 veterans who served in the Middle East or Afghanistan, and all were invited. Would the Middle East and Afghanistan veterans please stand to be recognized? Thank you. The Middle East conflicts exist today with some end in sight. I understand that 850 American troops may remain in Afghanistan after our official pullout. I have a list of 26 veterans that served but do not know where they served. All veterans in the theater are invited to stand to be recognized. Each and every one, no matter where you served or how long. If you served, please stand. You're right there. And all of these are called quick overview. I have two veterans I'd like to point out to you. I learned of them while we were outside. There was a couple over in Lexington that decided just to come to Clifton Forge today. He found himself stopped by the street closure, asked what happened, and joined the veterans in the canopy outside. And with that veteran from Williamsburg, please stand and be recognized. I'm sorry I didn't get his name, but welcome to Clifton Forge. And I have another veteran from Gainesville who was camping nearby and found out about the parade and he's here also. So to all of you, veterans are around you every day of your life. They're not a loud group. One may be next to you now that I have not identified. Once again, I would like to have a list. So if you're not sure you're on my list, please call Clifton Forge if you want to be part of this in the future. Ladies and gentlemen, these veterans and first responders today are special in our country's history. On behalf of all of us here today, I thank each of our veterans for what you have done, and each of our first responders for what you are doing every day of your lives. So, thank you for me. And now I ask that the service songs of the 5 branches of our military be played, and when your song is heard, please wave or stand to be recognized. here today, veterans, first responders, audience, theater staff, campers, visitors, and volunteers that help the veterans at the parade. I want to thank our Clifton Forge Main Street Stars and Stripes Committee, and another special recognition to Korean War veteran Dr. Jack Backles, who was the Grand Marshal of today's parade. It was his vision and leadership that established this wonderful 4th of July celebration in our town in 2009. I especially express a very special appreciation to Maude Atherholt, who's standing in the back, who's saying this. Stars and Stripes Committee Chairwoman, who has tirelessly worked to make this day and all other 4th of July stars and celebrations a success. 10 people have asked me since we came into this theater, where's Maude? I said, I don't know where she is every day, much less bring her in now. She's running around doing something that's necessary. Thank you, Maude. I hope to see all of you at the C&O Heritage Center tonight at 6 p.m. for food, fun, entertainment by the Celebration Choir, a retreat of the flag ceremony, and fireworks beginning at 9 p.m. But it sounds like the end of this, doesn't it? Before you go, please stand and join the following persons in the singing of God Bless America. Our 6 singers, how many do we have here? 3? 3 here. I'm going to name them all because this is in honor of World War II veteran Paul Beverly of Iron Gate. All of his children have served in the United States Armed Forces. I'm going to call them one at a time. U.S. Marine Corps veteran Curtis Beverly. Please stand and come forward. U.S. Marine Corps veteran Frank Beverly. U.S. Army veteran Paul David Beverly II. U.S. Army veteran John Beverly. U.S. Army veteran Mike Beverly. U.S. Army veteran Paul David Beverly III. They promised they were going to perform for us today, so I'm going to be quiet and let them do that. Let's stand.
God bless America, land that I love. Stand by her and guide her through the night with the light from above. From the mountain to the prairies, to the ocean, light and home. God bless America, my home, sweet home. God bless America, my home, sweet home.
That ends our celebration. I thank you all. Have a wonderful 4th of July. Drive safely. Thank you for being here.